wonderful subscribers. It's ASAPFlash here again, and I'm here to talk about the last two episodes of The Defender. And first things first, I just gotta say, I really like how everything was built, basically building up to this ever since the first season of Daredevil. How they kind of slowly pieced it together. At first, like when I was watching the first season of Daredevil, it just seemed like Wilson Fisk had just been basically like Marvel's version of Donald Trump, just kind of like buying buildings and then kind of like taking people out or whatever, whatever. But as I was watching the seventh episode in Defenders, it made me realize this feels like it was like their plan all along. Like with Wilson Fisk basically working under Madame Gao to kind of like buy out that building, like essentially tear it down, and then build somewhere between a second season of Daredevil and now. Basically, that building was demolished. Like they dug the hole all the way down to the ground, where to find where this is where Iron Fist comes in, where he needed to be the key to open the door, and basically the building that was built in the place of where Midland Circle is essentially one giant front, dates all the way back to like if you want to get technical, all the way back to the Avengers film, and then kind of like it officially started at the first season of Daredevil. So I think that's pretty clever how they, you know, like been building up to it, and you know, another thing about it though, I think feels like compared to the movie, the cinematic universes and shit, I feel like this is more layered, more dense than just this. I mean, I enjoy the film, but at the same time, it just feels like it doesn't really. It just gives you the all the stuff up front, and I mean, maybe there's some movies that's like where it's layered, but I just feel like the Netflix properties aren't more to the mature age, especially with Daredevil. It's basically like cinematically and story wise, it's so darker, and and that's another thing that I was thinking about. It's like how the Defenders was shot. It felt kind of like a combination of all the show's tones, and just kind of like meshed it in together to form one unique tone. And it's especially if you pay close attention to it, with scenes involving Jessica Jones, for instance, you could see like a tints of purple, and Luke Cage, like etc. Like they all have their own individual color scheme, and I kind of like the way how it ended, like with like at first, the silhouette in the last episode, in the closing minutes or whatever, I thought that was Punisher on the roof, but when the Iron Fist hand started glowing, I like his unofficial costume. It kind of reminded me like of what his costume looked like in the comics slash what Nico Bellic wears in Grand Theft Auto 4, like a combination of the two. But I'm a little disappointed that they didn't have the official costume, like the one in the comics where it's like that collar going all the way up and his tattoo visible, whatever. But hopefully we could get in the future, maybe so. I'm not sure, but I heard rumors that if they make a season two of Defenders, they're gonna switch up the team. Um, at first, like before they kind of like surprised us that Matt Murdock, spoilers, I guess, actually made it. I was thinking, damn, well, okay, that was pretty nice how they wrapped up his character arc, but I don't know, like that what that means, that Daredevil is like made it out of the rubble, potentially like he not Daredevil anymore, or he had amnesia or something. I'm not sure, but it did feel kind of ominous the way it ended, with like it looked like the the nuns that found not the yeah the nuns, the in their habit. I'm not really sure what it's called, but you get what I'm trying to say. Um, so it just seemed kind of like like open ended, I guess. But hopefully we might get a season three of Daredevil. But the one thing I want to say is, speaking of character arc, like I'm saying, I like how it gave the feeling of like each character found what they're looking for, and especially with Jessica Jones, when Malcolm. I think that's what the guy's name is. Her neighbor is essentially like repairing her apartment from being shot at earlier in the show, and then just kind of like her removing the you know, sign, I guess, over her door, just kind of like symbolizing saying like, you know what, it's time to get back to work and not being mopey. Because at the beginning of this show, she was basically like didn't want to go back to a private investigating. In fact, she was reluctant to take on cases. But at the end of the show, it felt more like she's ready to go back to it. So it looked like kind of hinting at or teasing at for second season of Jessica Jones, and which seems exciting because the way season one ended, it seemed like shit, I forgot the character's name, but the guy that took the red and blue pill that looked like he's gonna be the crazed Captain America esque type of character, where it's like because in the comics he literally had the American flag tattooed on his face, so we might see that in the second season. And with Iron Fist, hopefully like the character's grown where he's not bitching about his family being dead or whatever. Hopefully so, because it seemed like we seen closure with that, with but then again it looked like Madame Gao just sneaking off again. So I'm not saying we're gonna see it in the second season of Iron Fist, but we do. But if we do, hopefully, Danny Rand could get past the shit about you killed my parents, I have to kill you, all that shit. And it felt like a really watered down version of Arrow. I mean, with Arrow, he's basically doing the same shtick where it's like, he's been cast out on an island and he has to do all the secret stuff or whatever in order to get back to his home, and it's basically the same shtick. But I feel like Arrow does it better. I don't know. I just whatever. But billionaire playboy, vigilante, as Luke Cage said it. So yeah. Yeah. So one thing. I guess not really a complaint per se, but um, not really a complaint. I was gonna mention something about how Misty Knight got a robotic arm. Well, not really technically robotic arm yet, but there was a promo, a teaser, I guess you could say, with Luke Cage, season two, where she has her robot arm. So it seems like the MCU, especially in the Netflix series, is heavily influenced by Star Wars. Like where like it seems like in every movie in Star Wars, one of the main characters loses their limb, an arm, a hand, or some other kind, some other variation. So so yeah, that's pretty much it that I can think of the last two episodes. And yeah, I just gotta say um, I'm impressed with how everything wrapped up. And it at first, like, yeah, like I think I might have said, like at the beginning of the show, like the character dynamics was like 100% like complete opposite of each other, but somewhere along the line they found a way to work it out. And not only that, but they found their connections on why. And I think that's what made it work best. This is just figuring out like, okay, well, you have this, you have that, like some of the smallest connections that could potentially like help things or whatever. Oh, okay, this is my biggest complaint. Not really big, but it's just how like you know how that guy kept getting in the way of things. It's like, okay, I'm the police, blah blah blah, and then the defenders are basically trying to tell them like, no, this is bigger than the police. Like, you need to understand, this is not some type of shit that you can handle. But then again, it feels like kind of like a trope of every superhero shit, where it's like, no, you don't understand. I just kind of hope for one day, like this superhero film or shows would just be straight up honest with the police and be like, no, you don't understand what the hell you're getting into. This is some next level shit or whatever, or at least bring the police along. It's like, oh shit, you're right. This is some next level shit. I don't have any tip powers or whatever. So yeah, I think I've been rambling on quite enough. So yeah, tell me down below what you thought of the show, or what are you looking forward to on Netflix. And I just kind of like stumbled on this little tidbit or whatever. I have Spotify, so like I could just sign up with as a student because I am, and get Hulu. So I might be able to catch some of the Marvel Hulu shows. I'm not really sure if I want to, because it seems like more shows to watch. Whatever. Anyway, so I'm out like the Flash, and see you with another video.